but we were all excited to talk about the final frontier, space. Elon Musk building
your favorite
Starship.
African American. Yes,
the best. Everyone's talking about it. That's how Trump would say. But it's pretty fucking cool. Have you guys seen the footage?
I think I heard about it. Did they land a booster? Is that the deal?
Yeah, it's enormous. Like, it showed how big it was compared to the previous ones that they kind of had success with. Like, you remember, like, I think it was 2019 was the first booster that SpaceX like sent up, and they're like, hopefully it can land itself. And like, it was this little like module looking thing, and it like was, you know, it succeeded, but it wasn't like blowing anyone's mind. This thing's like 20, 30 times bigger. It's like a building. It's huge.
It's really big. I think the idea is because,
250 tons.
Because once again, they're able to like reuse the thing over and over and save costs. I think the idea is eventually to have like fuel stored in orbit and take one of those things up and then add a new fuel tank to it and then have it be able to accelerate all the way to Mars and then have some sort of plant there making methane fuel for the ride back.
Yeah. I want us to get back to exploring more shit. Like,
it's getting
where do you want to go?
It's getting
we went to all the close stuff.
Yeah.
It's like we checked out our house. Now we need to go outside. This is hard.
Jupiter has 4 moons with these ice shells with warm oceans underneath them. I want to know what's in those oceans so bad. If there's some sort of like the way we have that deep sea life here on the vents, those that's living off of like sulfur and evil at hundreds of degrees. Like one of them, I can't remember which. It's like Ares, Ganymede, Ceres, and Titan maybe. One of them has like geysers that shoot out because there's like activity down there. It gets flexed by the gravity of Jupiter, like the shell does, depending on which side it is, and that presumably warms the ocean through friction.
What are the geysers shooting out?
They don't know. Oh,
really?
They were all right. So they do that light spectrum
like
analysis
or something.
No, it was water.
Oh, neat.
Well, it's ice.
Wow.
You can see that it's ice. There's some residue on the cracks on one of them that shows up as like red, and they said that so does the kind of like bacteria that grows on those vents here, but that doesn't mean anything. It could just be some red shit.
There's no way to know.
I'm convinced there's life on a lot of planets, and it comes from this. Like, so obviously there's life on Earth in our crust, right? But then deeper in the dirt, there's life there too. Well, sure, that still gets like exposed to the sun and all the good, sort of juices that flow. But as you get deeper and deeper, they found life in Earth's like core and magna, right? Like, this is so where we didn't think life could live, we've now discovered it. Something under the crust, deeper than we ever thought, not in the dirt layer, but in the dead layer. They've discovered things that are alive, and it has caused scientists to reevaluate what they think the conditions for life are. They're broader than we used to think they are. So if you're telling me that there's no life on this Jupiter planet or moon, then I'm skeptical. I think something's alive there. Not intelligent, but there'll be something living, whether it be bacteria or whatever.
I want there to be like fish. I want there to be fish. I want there to be like little things that could.
Yeah, I want a real animal that I can see with my eyes.
Dude, that would be so cool. If you sent an American up there to go and like drill a fucking hole and then catch a fish, he'd be the greatest fisherman in the universe.
Be such a flex if I had one.
Oh, can you imagine? like he brings it back, but
Neptunian.
He immediately guts it and like gets he gets it like on a plaque, like a bass.
They train a fisherman to be the first to go to type.
Like they did with the oil drillers and Army Head.
It's way easier to train an ice fisherman to be an astronaut than it is to train.
I told him the whole time I'm more of a hobbyist, but they wouldn't take no.
No, I'm super into that. I'm super into that idea that there's likely to be life in one of those weird, awful, dark environments. And, I don't think it's fish people, but there's no reason it couldn't be fish people. That moon's been there as long as we've been here, Could be fish people.
I guess so.
Yeah. So they caught the booster, which I guess what it used to happen is the booster would drop into the water, it'd sink to the bottom of the ocean. There'd be this like booster rescue effort. Then they'd have to really check it carefully to make sure it's ready to go the next time. Now that they can land it, there's a tremendous amount of money savings to be had. I wonder why they had to land the booster in like whatever, a big set of chopsticks.
This is the bigger booster.
So they landed the other things. It's just harder because it's bigger.
I think it's probably just too heavy.
I think it's gigantic. I don't know the answer to your question, but I presumed that this was just so much bigger that they needed the chopsticks. I didn't know about the whole chopstick landing capture thing until I saw the video, and it doesn't look real. That thing kind of comes in ass first, like gliding down, like something out of a. It's very sci-fi, and oftentimes the footage it looks surreal to see something that big move so unnaturally, and then land. It's super cool.
Yeah, there's so much power. I saw a clip of Elon Musk saying the booster weighs like 250 tons. And he was saying like, oh, but we think we can get it to below 200 tons. And it's like, it's still pretty fucking enormous. Like, what are we moving? Hopefully, like this could be one of those things that like triggers another big increase in our ability to explore space, just like quick turnaround and everything.
You know what I was thinking? I think it secures our safety from asteroids. I think that if we've got enough lead time, there's a bunch. They're watching most of the sky now. It's not like in the 90s. They used to always say, "This is a postage stamp of sky that we scan every year. The rest is open." And it's like, oh my god, that's so scary. But now it's like they scan the whole fucking sky looking for stuff. Yeah. As long as they had like a few years lead time, you would think Elon could fly up a bunch of heavy stuff, like a bunch of depleted uranium weight plates, and then stack them all together and then stick them on the head of one of those rockets and just hit the asteroid and push it away. NASA has this thing called DART that they already tested, and they redirected an asteroid with it. Basically, they just crashed the fucking thing into a moving asteroid, which is harder than you might think because the asteroid's moving at some ungodly speed. And then your probe that they hit it with also, it's like hitting a bullet with a bullet and doing the math weeks in advance. So they hit the thing and they thought they were going to move it some minuscule amount, but they moved it like 60 times more. It was 60 times more effective than they thought it was going to be, something to that magnitude. So they have a lot of confidence that crashing things into asteroids will move them significantly enough to, with enough lead time to save us from getting dinosaured.
I would hope so. Is that still the prevailing theory on dinosaurs, meteor?
They think that it was a double whammy of volcanism initially, and then the asteroid was the last thing I watched. And I also watched a thing recently. There's some paleontologists, they've discovered these fossils in, I think, Colorado that are like 1 million years too late. So they think there was actually, you remember the cartoon, the Land Before Time?
Yeah.
There was like that one valley where like the dinosaurs kept living for a while. They literally think they found that, where dinosaurs might have gone on living for like 500,000 to 1 million years longer than anywhere else on the planet ever discovered. I thought that was cool. Super fun. Yeah. Especially based on, I liked that cartoon as a kid.
Land Before Time was great. Littlefoot and the gang against all odds, man. You watch that show and it's like, this is going to be the time the T-Rex gets them. Nope. They got away again.
I felt bad for the T-Rex after a while. It's like, what's he going to eat? He's hungry.
I hate plot armor.
He hate plot armor.
He killed his mother right away. They bambied him. You
gotta kill some main characters. Game of Thrones was okay. Walking Dead is the best character killer of any show I've ever seen.
A&E's the best character killer. That's why they had to kill those characters off. Everybody quit.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you were gonna be like, there's this show and that show and like. Yeah. No. But I do believe there's life up there under one of those ice shelf moons. And
is that where you would pick? Like if you're in charge?
That's what I would fund. Yeah. That's where the money goes.
If Elon's like, Kyle, we've only got enough money to explore one celestial body.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go? You're like fucking Titan.
Yeah. Europa, I think is the one. I think that's the one. But I don't know. I've watched little mini docs about
that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson also says. I think he agrees with you.
I think maybe that's the one that had the visible geysers that they were able to spectrum analysis and see that had like maybe some friendly chemicals for life or something. Or
maybe start by sending some unmanned stuff there. Like it seems
so
like
the ice is really thick. I think I think I remember the ice being like 1 kilometer thick. So we're going to need a really cool
go in the summer. What are you, stupid?
In the summer. Go during the daytime.
Can they bring perhaps a very long drill?
that
Bring a
dumb bitch who was
fire.
like,
just let a fire and wait.
about what the temperature of the sun would be during nighttime or something like that. Like so this is supposed
not enough. You know what I want is I don't know who Elon Musk's friends are, but I want one of his inner circle friends to get him like addicted to exploring the bottom of the sea the way he's addicted to space.
No,
I would like if he came up with a company that was like, you know, the delving company or whatever the fuck, like just something, and he just became obsessed and started mapping the deepest areas, finding new animals. I would love that. I would be more interested in that.
He does have a company. You know, he has a company called the Boring Company that bores tunnels, right?
Ditch that. Get to the ocean.
What would you name the ocean one? Wetworks.
Wetworks. Yeah, that could be good.
Sequest 2025.
Ooh, that's good too.
You just completely rip off that Roy Schneider TV show from the
Wetworks was not an original concept.
Nobody watched Sequest. Don't worry. You can rip the whole thing off. They had a dolphin that could communicate and stuff.
I've seen it.
Yeah, they had it was basically like a super advanced submarine. Roy Schneider was the captain, and they like patrolled the oceans, doing all sorts of good. You know, stopping all
all that ocean crime, underwater crime.
Yeah, you know, they had a niche.
Shark. Do you guys like
very powerful submarine?
Is your guys' curiosity about the bottom of the ocean even close to your space curiosity?
Yes. All right. Yes. So there's so much space that I know for sure. There's some shit out there. I think even in our little galaxy, there's got to be some shit out there. There's some people. I think there are some people, or there were some people, one or the other, like us, like that sat around and thought about us. You know, that we'd be an alien civilization to them. I believe that fully, but I don't know if we're ever going to be able to figure that out. Like certainly not within our lifetimes or anything like that. But down in the ocean, there's a few weird anomalies, right? So that Challenger Deep is so fucking deep. It's deeper than the Mount Everest is tall. It's crazy, crazy deep. It's completely unexplored, really, what's down there. And you could have some smart shit living down there. You could have some sort of weird, intelligent species of people living down there. Maybe that's what the UFOs are. Maybe it's the fish people coming up, and like the air up here is like their version of outer space. They can't even imagine outer space. That's like a level above. That's like a fifth dimensional being to them. They can't imagine outer space.
I'm having a hard time letting go of space as being exciting. Hey, Ed. Good to see you.
What's going on?
We're just talking about space and the sea.
And every time we do sea exploration and find some new fish, I struggle to give a fuck. It is not interesting. Look, here's an ugly brown or gray fish who doesn't go very far from this warm spot doing nothing his entire existence. I'm like, let's go to space. I've seen enough. The ocean is basically a wet desert and of nothing to see. Or
lucky for you, Woody, no one is funding ocean exploration. Like no one is funding that.
It should be funded. It should be funded.
When's the last time you saw an aquanaut? You know what I mean? Never.
I've never seen an astronaut either, or what it's worth.
So the kind of question posed, Ed, was, are you as intrigued by like a bunch of missions trying to find what's like at the bottom of all the deep trenches in the ocean, finding all those creatures, as much as you're interested in space?
I remember in elementary school, it was like 1 or 5% of the Earth's oceans had been explored. Have we increased that in the last 20, 30 years?
Not enough.
No.
Not really.
Not enough. They found like 100 new species of deep sea fish just in Chile this past year. Yeah. And so there's a bunch of cool shit down there and we don't know about it yet. And I want to figure it out. We're not going to find any, we're not going to get to cool space stuff before we're all dead. And so, you know, I may as well see something cool in the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that there's just endless craziness out there that we'll, you know, maybe occasionally see wash up over the next 100 years and be like, wow, I wonder how many more of those there are. But it's wild for sure. I feel like you're going to go a lot further in space before you find something that stares back at you.
For sure. It's a denser area of life in the ocean, obviously. And it's right there. Like we know how to get it. It's not like space where they're like, but how do we get 20 billion miles away? And it's like, we're not quite there with the technology yet. It's like, we can get to the bottom. We can do that. We can go to the deepest place in the ocean and look around. It's just, there's so much space.
I mean, they're doing that. They do it.
A little, and it's boring because there's no light there. So there's no energy there. There's no algae. There's no food chain. There's just a little bit of like sulfur leaking from the ground that they managed to survive on somehow. But
they got cool stuff down there. We just don't know all of it yet. Yeah.
Well, there's a good bit more available than there is in space.
Yeah.
We're talking about like Europa, though, where there's ice geysers shooting up or something. And Kyle explained that Jupiter's gravitational pull causes its moon Europa to flex, which gives it heat, which is why there is liquid water. I almost call it liquid ice. And that flexing is friction, which is heat, and there's water, and there could be fish there.
Or amoebas or frogs or
color.
Or fish people with like big three-titted women.
Don't bother me with your brown fish. That's what I'm telling you. If you find another gray fish at the bottom of the ocean, keep it to yourself. I don't care.
What if we find
this attitude? We never ever would have found the anglerfish, which is sick.
There could be mer people.
Crazy teeth. Yes.
Yeah, the anglerfish is arguably the coolest fish in the whole ocean.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it's got its own lure. It's bioluminescent. It looks like it's got a demon face.
I mean, it's an okay fish. I don't know. I feel like I just like mush it. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny? Like if I looked it up right now and that thing was like a 2-pound fish, I'd be like, oh, that's fucking gay.
It does not weigh 2 pounds. It's got to be less than 2 pounds. I bet it weighs 3 ounces. Oh, that's not real. All right. Well, that's not real.
Well,
this is Finding Nemo. Clearly,
Disney rendition.
This was startling in the movie.
Strike that from evidence. Strike that from evidence.
Yeah, it's immediate.
When do you become an astronaut? Because you can do anything you want up there.
Is that what that means, Woody? Class G?
Class G is the lowest restrictions.
Class gangsta.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic
it's international air past.
No, it means that like there's no flight rules. You're allowed to fly like in clouds, basically, like anything.
Okay.
Communication goes down.
That reminds me. Oh my God. So in Zambia during the space race between the USSR and the United States, there was this kook who was fascinated with science and space travel, and so he created his own position as like the minister of space and science. He made it up, and then he started training his own space force, the Zambian Afronauts, and it's just these black kids on an old abandoned farm. Like they've got like old bunches of pipe and stuff. They got this one kid in like a big swing. They're like rocking him back and forth. I guess preparing for like Martian air or Martian gravity or maybe moon gravity.
Wow, they're going straight to Mars, huh?
They were aiming high.
That's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
The Zambian Afronauts. There's a great YouTube video of it. I was thoroughly entertained. I love anything. I like when people shoot for the moon.
Did they get up in the air at all?
No, not even in the slightest. Did they? They never.
A little.
No, not even a little.
Zambia.
No, they didn't get anywhere off the ground at all. I don't think they were ever going to either. I don't think they had the funding.
We are returning to the moon no sooner than 2025. That's what they're taking. Same as NASA, as if it's funding.
Why you gotta keep shitting on NASA? NASA's doing what they have with the budget they've got. You know,
dude. NASA's getting embarrassed now.
They are.
They're
not. By Musk. Musk is fucking. Musk's companies also take. They also take federal dollars and all that shit, but like. They don't get Musk's companies don't get nearly the money and the allotment that NASA does. It seems to me like it's just revealed that like NASA's doing a lot of fiddle fucking around. They're not getting it done. Like I
told you about the DART program where they moved an asteroid as a part of the planetary defense program.
Get back to the goddamn moon.
What do you want to go to the moon for? What are you in a hurry for? What do you want on the moon?
We went there like 4 times in the 60s.
And we're like, he's got to get back up there.
We went there like a dozen times or something. What do you want up there on the moon? What do they got that we need so bad?
I mean, there's probably something neat somewhere.
We
haven't even explored
that moon dust is like space asbestos.
Yeah. Throw a Dollar General up there.
Yeah,
like we don't even have a spacesuit. Do you know that we don't have a spacesuit that would work on the moon?
Don't even admit that live. That's humiliating.
Wait. Why don't our spacesuits work on the moon? Because we have spacesuits.
The ones that when they went to the moon, the space dust is like space asbestos. It's this tiny particles of evil that get in all the zippers and the Velcro and inside the capsule. And they were only up there for like a day. They like went up there, landed, like took a nap, explored, like slept some more, and then left or something like that. And it was becoming a problem. It was getting in the joints of the spacesuit, and the spacesuits were breaking down. Like major components of them were no longer working.
You might be overestimating how much I know about asbestos. Is it like powdered sugar?
Well, asbestos is a mineral that you mine from the earth that's carcinogenic. It's these tiny little fibers. They use it industrially for brake pads and insulation. They still do, even though a lot of the government buildings don't anymore. That's what brake pads are made out of. But what I mean by this moon dust is it's very tiny, hazardous little particles that get in everything and ruin everything. Like,
well, how did we do it the first time?
Like I said, they were only there for a couple of days, and the spacesuits were breaking down.
They didn't.
And
do
it's been, yeah, you're right. It's been a mere half century. We couldn't have put together.
What do you want to go back for so bad, Taylor? You want to do some exploring on the moon?
The moon is a nice little stepstone to other cool places. Like I think the last time we went to the moon was like 1971 or so.
I want to go to Venus.
So to Taylor's point, like I'm so terrestrial, I'm like, well, we could set up a little station there, put some fuel, and then eventually launch from the moon and go to Mars or something, right? Where it's lower. Yeah. But now I'm like, why do we even need the moon? Could we not just put it in orbit? There's lots of shit in orbit. Do we need the moon to assemble things?
The moon's way further away than our low Earth. Like we've looked at the diagram before where it shows where the space station is, and it's so close to the Earth on a blown out image that it's like, oh fuck, that's like not even in the vicinity. That's closer to Florida than the moon by orders of magnitude.
When you see it in scale, they're basically just flying. Like it doesn't seem like they're in space.
It's less impressive than I want it to be. Like
I want to go to Mars, or I want to go to one of those cool moons. I don't care about our moon.
But think of all the other technological things that we did 70 years ago that we haven't done since.
I would like to put some cool weapons on the moon. If we could put a missile base on the moon. Now, here's what I'd like.
Look at phones in the last 20 years, and we
turned the moon into a Death Star. I'd be up for that. If the moon suddenly had like some ordnance on it, and anytime anybody stepped out of line, USA, like you saw it coming, you're like, oh shit, somebody fucked up.
I would like the moon to be more of like a resort, like a fun place people can go and enjoy space.
No, the fact that I can't go to the moon on Royal Caribbean bothers me. Yeah,
I should be able to get on fucking a Scandinavian cruise, zoot right up there, enjoy myself. Even if we skip the moon,
scary as fuck.
I would also want to skip Mars.
You don't want to go to the moon?
Because Mars doesn't see. If we're gonna skip the moon, let's go straight to one of those moons on Jupiter. Because those seem like they have more hope than Mars. Mars seems like a fucking shithole.
Yeah, but to say that the moons of Jupiter are like our greatest hope is like, have you ever been to Canada? Like, there's nobody there. You can live there if you want. It's hard to get internet, but
there were people there when I visited.
Yeah,
not call those people.
Anywhere in Canada, drive 60 miles north, and there won't be people.
Right. You shoot in any direction, and your odds of hitting a person are near zero. Mm-hmm. And I mean,
the American way.
If there's people here, they'll be upset that we've shot at them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to see some kind of exploration that America is leading the way in, whether it's the deepest of the sea or the furthest reaches of space. It's been too long since we've been like exploring again and really, jumping with both feet into that pool. And so I want to see cool exploration. I want to see new animals. I want to see new stuff on fucking Mars or Titan or Europa, whatever it is. But enough is enough with the fucking waiting game on space exploration. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
It's politically unpopular. Every time someone says we're going to go to Mars, they come back and say, but there's a homeless vet.
Oh, come on.
Put him on Mars. Let him live there.
That's what Taylor, tell him to get jobs, right? Right? Taylor, in private, he's like, these homeless vets have no work ethic.
They just can't get it done. Give them send them to the VA and give them some money or whatever, and then we'll spend all the rest exploring space, exploring the cosmos. That's tight. That's cool.